Hello, Internet. It's Jen T. Grace here, founder of Publisher Purpose Press, and I am here for day number 10, tip number 10 of our 30-day marketing challenge. So your goal over this 30-day period is to double your book sales from the previous 30 days. 5 books, 50 books, 5,000 books, whatever your sales are, I want you to double them. So today's tip is give away your content. Now, I know that the thought of giving away your content might be uneasy for you, but I have a couple of suggestions on how to do this. There is a general rule of thumb that exists in the marketing world that you can comfortably give away 40% of your book's content. I know that the thought of giving away a fourth of your book probably scares the hell out of you. Now, I'm not saying to just take 4 chapters of your book, of a 10-chapter book, and just give them to somebody. You want to be really strategic and mindful about this. So when we're thinking about what do we want somebody to do who might be on your website, who is checking out what you do, what you stand for, what services you might offer, etc., and they're on your website and you want them to know that you have a book available, the first way that you can engage with somebody is to have a free chapter download for someone to access from your website or even on other social media outlets. But for the sake of this conversation, I'm thinking your website. They go to your website, they say, oh, wow, here's this great book, and I can get this chapter for free. So that is one place that you can give away your content, because what you're doing is that while you are giving away that free chapter, you are getting people to join your mailing list, and they are giving you their name and their email, which then gives you an opportunity to further that conversation and further that engagement with your reader. If we don't have a way to communicate or interact with people who are reading our books or coming to our website, and we have no way to capture their email or capture their contact information, we're losing out on that potential of building a deeper relationship with that particular person. So in this case, it doesn't have to be chapter 1 that you give away. A lot of times I think people just assume that you have to give away the first chapter of the book. That's not the case. We've had authors that for whatever reason, we have chosen to pull out, in one particular book, we pulled out chapter 15 and chapter 17. Seems pretty random, but when we were looking holistically at what of these chapters really kind of gets to the essence of what this book is about, it happened to be chapters 15 and 17. So that's one thing that you can do. It doesn't have to be the first chapter. If you want to make it easy on yourself, use the first chapter. It doesn't necessarily matter. Just pull out content that feels resonant with what somebody is looking for. You don't have to give away the entire chapter. You can kind of leave it on a cliffhanger, which many authors do, where, maybe it is the first chapter and it's starting to get into some really good stuff, and then it drops like right at a cliffhanger. And when you do that, you want to have a very clear link below where that text drops off to say, if you're interested, if you want to know more or want to know how the story continues or ends or whatever it is, click here to buy my ebook, print book, audiobook, whatever formats you might have your book in. So that's one way you can do it. So that's one of this kind of like 40% that you can give away. The other thing that you can be thinking about is giving different companies, organizations, communities, audiences, whomever it might be, different exclusive access to parts of your content. So I will use one of my past books as an example. So I have written 4 books on LGBTQ business, marketing, communications, primarily in business and workplace settings. So in mine, when I was releasing, I don't remember which book it was, but it was a number of years ago. I want to say it might have been my second book. I partnered up with lesbian.com. My book was around LGBTQ work, and I happen to know folks at lesbian.com. And what I did is I gave lesbian.com exclusive access to a chapter of my book. So in that exclusive access, you have to agree to it, and you have to honor it. So you can't just tell someone they're getting exclusive access to something and then not actually giving it to them. So I don't remember which chapter. I think it was one of my beginning chapters. So I gave them exclusive access, and I promised for exposure on the homepage of their website and for exposure for them, doing this really awesome article on me and my book, I would not use that information anywhere else from a marketing standpoint. And so there's another opportunity where, here we go, we have the free chapter on our website, and now this organization or this website has a free chapter. You can do that a couple of different times. And so, like I said, you can kind of comfortably give away 40% of your content, because what you're doing is that you're engaging that person who may or may not known who you were, to get them to really get a sense of who you are. And then the intention and the hope, of course, is that they're going to see that information and they're going to want to take that next step. They're going to want to go that next level and buy your ebook or your print book or your audiobook. So these are just a couple of ways that you can be thinking about it. If you're still in the process of writing your book, which I know there are many of you who are following this challenge who are still in the writing phase, you can be thinking about how are you writing your book almost as standalone chapters. So that way, when you come out on the other side from a marketing standpoint, you can just cherry pick different pieces and parts from your book and pitch them to different organizations that have your audience. Because what you're trying to do is build your reader base, which then in theory or hopefully will translate into a future customer base. So that is today's tip. Tip number 10, give away your content. And I fully understand that this makes you uncomfortable. So if you are comfortable with just getting a free chapter download on your website, please, please, please do. So many authors do this. You can do that. You can also do it with some kind of, behind the scenes access or a video or meditation or whatever might be relevant and helpful for your book. There's a lot of different ways that you can package other content that's not in the book that also just kind of starts to lead people in that process of eventually purchasing your book. I will be back in a different tip later that goes into more detail on kind of that further engagement with somebody once they are actually on your website, get your free chapter. The question then becomes kind of like, then what? So a future tip will absolutely address that. So that is the tip for today. I very much appreciate you. If you have questions or comments or any tips that you're thinking about or questions that you have, please leave a comment below this video wherever you might be watching it, and I am happy to record a future tip that addresses it. Couple of announcements as I end each of these videos. The first is that if you are looking for just a little extra support, we are doing office hours that currently are happening at 4 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesdays. That is the current office hours. However, we do have a page on the Publisher Purpose Press website now that lists out the most recent or the current office hours. So if you are watching this in the future, then you can go check out that page and it will tell you the exact hours that are happening right now. Additionally, we have a WhatsApp group that is meant for accountability. If you are looking for some marketing accountability and you want to just be able to go in and say, hey, I saw tip number 10, I went and did this, and this is the result I'm seeing, or you're just looking for kind of community and support around other like-minded authors, by all means, please join our WhatsApp group, and the link for that is below this video. Then my special announcement, if you will, for tip number 10 is that I will be launching a marketing mastermind group in the coming weeks. It will launch on the other side of these tips. So we are only on tip number 10, so we got 20 more tips to go. If you are interested in belonging in that, in the marketing mastermind, there's an application on the publisherpurposepress.com/marketing page of our website. And you can check that out. And by all means, it might be interesting to you. I'm, still developing what the structure of that's going to be, what the cost, the curriculum, the time frame, all of those things. So that is all a work in progress right now, but it is absolutely accessible if you are looking to take your marketing to the next level. And I know that, what we really need right now is just kind of accountability so often. So if you look below this video, as I mentioned, links for all of these different things that I have mentioned are absolutely down there. Just click on the link, join the group. And when you are in, if you join our WhatsApp group, please come in and introduce yourself. Tell everyone what you wrote about and what you're hoping to do. So that's today's tip. I very much appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow with tip number 11. And again, if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the chat below, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.